everybody, so I'm back again with a recap of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. This week was the season finale, and so I think I'm going to start this recap off right where we left off last week with the fight. So we pick up in the aftermath of the fight of the century. I went back and I know I read everybody's comments, so I went back and I watched the video again. Some people on my Facebook group, well, not my Facebook group, but the Facebook group I'm a part of, put it in slow-mo, so I watched it really closely, and I do think that I was wrong initially. I don't think that was Winter's weave that Mother Chantel pulled out. I think it was Nicole's. The reason why is because when Mother Chantel, Pedro, and Nicole, who were all kind of on the same side, fell, they came back up, and when they came back up, Mother Chantel had her hair in her hand. All of a sudden, Winter was on like the total other side, which I didn't really see the first time. It all happened so fast. And then Nicole's hair was like still intact and beautiful, and so that kind of threw me off. So I was like, no way she got a track snatched out. She looked beat when she got up, but she did have Nicole's hair in her hand, I think. So I might have to change my mind. I admit that I was wrong initially. I think that it might be Nicole's weave now, but you know, it really doesn't matter whose weave it was because she pulled somebody's weave out the back of their head. Everybody starts going outside. Nicole, who was the first one out, she's already down the street, honey, crying. And Pedro goes out and follows her, and she's crying, why did you attack River? And Pedro's like, oh, it's going to be okay. It's fine. Don't worry. Calm down. He's trying to calm her down. Mother Chantal is acting a straight fool, y'all. She is screaming Immigracion. She is screaming Pedro y Nicole muy malo for mi familia. Like 150 times. Like I was like, Mother Chantel, we get it, okay? Muy malo, that's your word for the day. Muy malo, we got you, girl. Okay, muy malo, yes. She's waving the weave around saying, Pedro y Nicole, muy malo, muy malo. I was like, you know what? Let's just speak English. Let's just speak English. Let's stop with the Spanish, because at this point, no Spanish speaking person is near you anymore. Pedro and Nicole are down the street somewhere. So why are you speaking Spanish terribly when no Spanish speaking person is even in the vicinity? Let's just speak English, okay? Forever, Mother Chantel. Let's give Spanish up. You tried it, okay? It didn't work for you, all right? Spanish ain't for everybody. Chantel starts crying and she's just inconsolable. And you know what? I thought Chantel kind of pulled to what toddlers do, you know, when they fall and they start crying and then look around and they're like, nobody heard me crying, so they cry louder. Like that's kind of what Chantel was doing, because she started crying. Nobody paid her any attention, so she started crying louder. So, and then finally Winter decided to console her. And so she's crying on Winter's shoulder. River is walking around looking at the aftermath of the chicken wings on the floor. And it's just a mess. It's just left in a mess. Mother Chantel's acting a fool, talking about they're heathens and they're bad for my family. And I'm like, how are they heathens when everybody was fighting? Like it wasn't just Pedro and River. It was everybody. Like the whole family was brawling. So if they're heathens, so are y'all. It's a couple days later. Chantel has not spoken to Pedro. She is ignoring his calls. She has not gone home. She has been staying with Winter this whole time, and it's been a couple days since the fight happened, and she just can't face him because she's scared she's gonna go off. So she goes to meet her friend, and they discuss what happened with the fight. And honestly, Chantel just sat up there and told a lie. Well, she didn't tell a lie. She told a story that made her family look really good, honestly. She left out key parts of the story. She left out the fact that River called Pedro the N-word, and that's really what set him off. She left out the fact that her family has been picking at Pedro ever since he got here because they didn't trust him, because Chantel started out lying, telling them he was on a different visa than he was. So the mistrust really started with her. She left out the whole fact that Mother Chantel started the whole conversation that was antagonistic toward Nicole, which started the back and forth and the yelling and the raising of the voices. So it was all peaceful and good until Mother Chantel decided she wanted to bring up the fact that Nicole was being disrespectful to Chantel. And, you know, I didn't like that she left all that out the story. I'm like, if you're going to tell the story, tell the whole story. Like, don't just tell the parts that make you look good. I mean, I know some people, when they tell a story, they do tend to leave out some things to make themselves look a little bit better so that whoever's listening will take their side. I get that. But she did this to an extreme. She left out major parts of the story and then made it look like Pedro just went crazy and went Hulk and attacked her brother. And that's not at all what happened. Friend is like all shook and she can't believe what happened and whatever. And she asked Chantel what she thinks she's gonna do. She's like, I don't know, I haven't been home. I've been ignoring his calls and his texts. And so then later, fast forward, finally Chantel decides to go home. She's coming home from nursing school and she walks in. Pedro's doing the dishes or rinsing the dishes. I don't know what Pedro was doing. He thought he was doing some dishes. I ain't see no soap or bubbles. They start to have this conversation about what happened with the fight. To be honest, their whole discussion, they were both making some valid points. Pedro brought up the fact that her family has never liked him and they've never had a good relationship. And Chantel brought up the fact that her family doesn't respect her. And they're both right. But the problem here with this whole discussion is that neither one of them want to admit where they both went wrong. Pedro doesn't want to admit that he takes his family's side over his wife's side all the time, and that's causing tension in their marriage. Chantel doesn't want to admit that her family butting into her business all the time and her running and telling them all their business is causing tension in their marriage. So they kind of talk about separation or divorce. They suggest that Pedro should go back to the DR for a little while because they just need some time to themselves. I think this is honestly a bad idea. I think that Pedro and Chantel's relationship can work. It is possible for it to work. The problem is Pedro and Chantel are getting in Pedro and Chantel's way. This relationship will not work with both of them doing what they're doing now. There's a lot of things that need to change. First thing is sending Pedro home to his family and you staying with your family here in Atlanta is a bad idea because y'all are both already way too close to your families as it is. Y'all need some time apart from the families with just y'all. Take a little time. Don't talk to them outside of checking on how you are, making sure everybody's alive. Take a little time to just be with your man, girl. Like, don't go running to your mom and telling them every little thing that happens with him. Pedro, don't be sending all the money home to the family. They'll be all right with the money they have, okay? You know, y'all gotta handle y'all's lives. You can't always take your family's side. You gotta back your wife up a little bit. Now, I think that Chantel could do a better job of handling her own business. For instance, I've heard or seen a lot of people on Twitter, Facebook, and in my comments even saying that they like how River sticks up for his sister or that he's just defending his sister. That would be real cute if Chantel was like 11 and in the 6th grade and there was a bully at school that was picking on her and River came to her rescue. Chantel is 26 years old. She is a grown woman, and if someone is disrespecting you, like when Nicole came to your house and how she says allegedly straight up disrespected her. We don't have any footage, so I don't know that she actually clapped her hands and said thank God. I think she did just because it sounded like something Nicole would do, honestly. But I don't know for sure. But if she did that, the first thing you should have did was turn right back around and go in there and address it. Chantel, you are a grown woman, and rule number 1 of life is don't let nobody disrespect you / don't let nobody play you. Okay? So if somebody comes at you with some disrespect, you got to set them straight right then and there. You can't let that continue. And so what she does is she gets disrespected and then she expects everybody else to come to her rescue. No, ma'am. You got to handle that for yourself. If that was my sister and she was telling me that some grown woman is disrespecting her at work, at school, or at home, or wherever, I would be like, you better handle your business and let her know she can either get right or get out. Because you're not going to come in my home and disrespect me. We can get you a plane ticket right back to the DR, ma'am. Or you can pay for a hotel to sleep wherever you want to sleep. You don't want to sleep on this couch. But what you not going to do is disrespect me in my home. And let that be the end of it. Ain't no more discussion. Ain't no back and forth. We ain't got to argue. I said what I said. And that's it. Chantel just needs to do a better job of handling her business. She needs to grown woman up, put her big girl panties on, and stop running to mommy, daddy, River, and whoever else to fight her battles for her. Girl, you grown now. You out in the real world. You got to fight your own battles, okay? You can't have folks fighting for you. She really needs to grow up. She literally acts like she's a little kid and that it's her family's job to take care of her still. And it's not. It shouldn't be your mama and daddy coming to your rescue. I can't remember the last time my mama has talked to somebody on my behalf. It's been years, like a long time. Like, we don't do that. Like, you're grown, you pay your own bills, then that means you can handle your own business and not be disrespected by grown folks in your own house, especially. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's mama, daddy, sister, cousin, brother-in-law, mama-in-law, grandma-in-law. I can tell you to respect me in a respectful way. Like, I don't have to disrespect you to let you know that you're going to respect me. So it's not even like oh, I don't want to say anything because it's his sister. No, I'm going to say something. Like, you're not going to disrespect me in my home. I don't care who it is. So Chantel needs to do a better job of defending herself, handling her business. And she can't always run home to mommy and daddy to complain about her man. And honestly, you married him. So I don't know what you're complaining for. I don't listen to people complain about their men. Like, you can complain, but I'm going to be like, well, don't call me all the time complaining about your man. Are you calling me to help you pack your bags to leave him? Well, then I don't want to hear. You go in there, you make it work with that. That's your man. You not going? You not leaving? You're not leaving. I remember my sister used to call me all the time complaining about something her husband did. I'd be like, didn't you marry him? And that's your man? Okay, are you calling me to pack your bags? Or do you want me to come help you move out? You need somewhere to stay because you're leaving him. Okay, well, we don't need to discuss what he's doing. You go in there and you work it out because that's bae. And that's what you do. And that's what her family needs to tell her to do. Her family's so hung up on he's from the Dominican Republic and they think she's getting scammed. I don't think she's getting scammed. I think it's just a marriage that has problems like every other marriage. And running to mommy and daddy is not helping it at all. So I think that these two need to take a vacation of their own from both of their families. I think them separating is bad because they already got enough family time between the two of them. The last thing Pedro needs to do is go home to his family because they just gonna pump his head up and talk about how bad her and her family are, and all Chantel's family is gonna do is say leave Pedro, divorce him. They're not gonna mend this. This not gonna work. So I don't know what these two gonna do, but like I said, their marriage can work. They just have to work it. They have to be willing to pull away from their families a little bit and work on Pedro and Chantel. Hopefully we'll see an update of them in the tell-all next week, but you know, I want the best for these two, honestly, but they just getting in their own way and they're letting their families get in their own way, and it's just sabotaging their relationship, honestly. It's really sad. But that's it for those two. Let's move on to the next couple. Next is Molly. I'm not going to say Molly and Luis because Luis is long gone. So this week, Molly is still trying to pick up the pieces of her life after kicking Luis out of the house and filing for divorce. Her and Kinsley have decided to meet up with her daughter Olivia at the skating rink. It was really, really cute, y'all, actually. I mean, it wasn't super exciting or drama filled, but it was a real sweet moment. Olivia showed up and her, you know, Kinsley and Molly are talking at first, and then they send Kinsley off to go play or do something so that they can have grown women talk. So Molly just pleased with Olivia, telling her that Luis is gone and he's not coming back, and she really wants Olivia to come back home. Olivia, you know, talks about the situation, how hard it was to see her mom go through that and how tough of a situation it was and why she really had to leave. And Molly is just begging Olivia to come back home. And Olivia says, all right, I'll come back home, but you know, there's some things that we have to discuss first. We got to lay some ground rules down, and I don't blame her. I mean, Olivia is a super, super mature kid. I mean, for her to be 18, she sat up and talked to her mama like she was a grown woman and her mama was her daughter. She was very mature. She didn't get loud or disrespectful with her mama, but she just let her know how it was going to go from here on out, and that she wasn't going to do this whole back and forth, man, no, we not doing that. Like, you need to get your priorities straight for what you want to do, and then I'll come back home. And I mean, she had a good point. I don't totally agree with the fact that Olivia left, just because of how I was raised, and I know I wouldn't have been able to do that. My mama would have came and dragged me from whoever's house I was staying at, and I would have went back home. But I do see why Olivia left, and you know, I really don't blame her for it, and I admire her maturity about the situation when she was talking to her mom about moving back home. So it looks like Olivia is probably going to come back home soon. Then in the final scenes with Molly, she goes to visit her lawyer again, who I told y'all a couple weeks ago looks like John Travolta in the O.J. Simpson trial show. That man's hair it looks like a helmet. You know what his hair looks like? It looks like the Legos, you know, the Lego people. You know how their hair just all one piece snaps on and snaps off? That's what his hair looks like. It looks literally like a helmet. She goes and she discusses with the lawyer about what are her options. She already sent the divorce papers up to Luis, but she's really nervous that he just won't sign them and will make it hard for her. She's nervous that he's going to try to stay and get a green card and that she's going to be responsible for him for these 10 years. And she really just needs him to go back to where he came from. And so the lawyer gives Molly the great news that Luis signed the papers already. I was shocked. I thought he was going to really give her a hard time. I was really surprised that he signed them so easily. But you know, Luis might have a half a heart, or he might just want to be rid of that whole Molly situation so that he can move on and try to get his green card. He probably already talking to some other women, whoever he was texting to on the phone on Tinder, and he's probably ready to be divorced. He's ready to get this marriage done. And so he signed the papers, and so you know, the lawyer hands Molly the pen, and Molly didn't waste no time. She said, where's my pen? I'm signing, baby. Let me get out of this man's life. She didn't hesitate. She didn't blink. She didn't take a deep breath. Molly went on to sign the paper so quick, fast, and in a hurry. She was so ready to get done with that. And so now her only fear is that Luis will try to pull a Muhammad, which basically is, even though we're divorced now, that he will try to stay in the country and get a green card, and now I'm going to be responsible for him. And so we're going to see what happens further with Molly and Luis potentially. I don't know if Luis is going to be in the tell-all next week. I don't know if he's going to pop up like he did last time. Remember when we thought he was gone, but then he came in at the end and surprised everybody? I mean, that would be amazing, but I don't know. I'm starting to hear little chatter that Luis might have already gotten deported and he's already in the DR. So I have a feeling we won't be seeing Luis in the tell-all. But either way, I'm glad to see Molly moving on with her life. Good luck to her. I wish her the best, and I hope that she moves forward much smarter and that she's much wiser for this terrible mistake that she made. But that's it for Molly. So let's move on to the last couple for this part. So next is David and Annie. So this episode, David and Annie are packing up to move into the storage warehouse apartment. So Annie is being slightly melodramatic. I mean, you would have thought that David was asking Annie to literally go move under the freeway. Annie is still fed up. She does not want to live in this apartment. She went to go see it last week and she said no, she can't take a 2-minute shower. She said no, she can't cook in that kitchen that doesn't have a stove. She said no to the whole thing. She said it looks gloom and doom and sad and it's nowhere like what I thought my life was going to be here in America. And she once again lets David know that she is seriously thinking about going back to Thailand and she's not playing with him. And she sits down and tells him straight up, like, I'm going to go back to Thailand and you can stay here and try to get a job, and I don't know what's going to be of our marriage, but I got to go because, baby, I can't do this. And David just turns on the waterworks, honey. He breaks down and starts crying. I mean, tears just running down his face because he just can't live without Annie, apparently. I mean, I don't know what he expected to happen. I guess he thought that he was going to bring her here and that they were going to be living off Chris and his brothers and sisters and everybody else's money and be living luxurious and lavish. And now that everybody has cut him off, his plan is foiled. And he doesn't know what to do. And now Annie's threatening to leave him. And he's like, well, who's going to cook my ramen noodles? You know, who's going to cook my ramen? Like, he has no idea what he's going to do without Annie. He knows that no American woman wants him, that his hips are growing bigger and bigger by the day, and he knows that this is his last chance to have a wife, and nobody else is probably gonna marry him. And he just gets distraught and upset and starts to cry. And Annie just feels so bad, and so she gives in and says that she'll stay. And she says, I don't know why I keep staying with this man, why I keep giving him chance after chance after chance, but I do. And I mean, every time David cries, Annie just gives in. Remember, she almost left him a couple days before their wedding. He cried then. At least this time there were actual tears coming out of his eyes. I will give him that, because the first time he cried, there was not a tear to be found. They pack up and they move to the storage warehouse apartment. And you know, it actually didn't look that bad. Like I said, she could put her woman's touch on it. Their little bedroom set looked cute. You know, the living room was small, but you know, you can make the best of what you got. Get a crock pot, get you a hot plate. You know, you can change out the water heater. You can do a few things to upgrade it or something. And you know, it's going to be okay. And Annie, you know, they showed Annie decorating and she was talking about how sad she is because she has no friends. She has nobody here with her and she's just sad and pitiful. She was hanging up those pictures, honey, looking just sad and depressed. So you know what? I really don't see that it's that terrible. I mean, Annie, it's either this or the Salvation Army at this point, girl. And I feel like you can make the most of that little apartment, even though it is small, and even though, you know, you have to take a 2-minute shower. There's things you can do to make it feel homey. And I think that if she tries her best, she said she wanted to stay with him and that he's trying. And so I don't want to hear no more complaining about your man and staying in that apartment, because you said you wanted to go, but then he cried and so you stayed, right? Remember that? And so since you decided to stay, I'm going to need you to have that same energy toward decorating that little bitty apartment and making it a home. Okay? In their last little interview, they talked about how, you know, Annie just doesn't have anything. She doesn't have a family. Her dowry hasn't been paid back, and she's just so upset and just hurt. And she started crying and saying how she doesn't know how she's gonna make it there with David. And then David looks over at her, he starts crying. It was hard to watch. That was a real emotional moment. I felt like that was real. I don't think that was cooked up by the producers. I think that was a real raw moment between David and Annie, and I appreciate that. You know what? I really appreciate how the producers sprinkle in real raw moments with the scripted ones. I mean, we got to have the scriptedness, I guess, I suppose, because that's kind of reality TV today. That's just the reality of it. Reality TV today is not real anymore. But they do at least sprinkle in these real raw moments like that, because that just seemed real to me, with both of them sitting on that couch crying. David, his big old stomach, just, oh, he just looks so pitiful. But you know, one thing I will give David this week, I guess he heard my lecture from last week, because I had to go in on him a little bit, but he did take the job at the storage facility. And they did show him doing a little work. He was going off to work. He had to kiss Annie goodbye. And they showed him, honey, pushing that little broom. Y'all, David clearly does not know how to do any kind of manual labor. Did y'all see him pushing that broom? David, I don't think David ever swept that up in his life. David was pushing that little broom like he wasn't trying to move no dirt. I don't know what that little scene was that they put with trying to make it look like David was doing some work. David ain't doing no work up there at that storage facility. David probably don't get up out that seat all day. He probably sits in one spot. He probably get mad if he have to get up and walk down to one of the storage facilities, because it's probably hurting his knees just to get up and walk half a mile to anywhere. But that was pretty much it for David and Annie. And that's it for part 1. So I decided to do 3 couples and 3 couples because there was just a lot that went on. And I didn't want my video to be 3.5 hours long. So thanks for sticking it out with part 1. And stay tuned for part 2 coming up soon. Bye. Alright, promise y'all a beat, so I guess I got a beat, huh? The things I do for this vlog. For love. Because I just love y'all so much. I'm gonna try to do a fast beat because I'm exhausted, honestly. Jesus. I don't know what kind of face. I think I'm gonna do a natural beat. Like, it's a beat, but it's gonna be real natural because I don't know. I think it's gonna be a real natural beat, y'all. So if you think I didn't do anything, sorry. I'm trying. I'm not a makeup artist. Hey. Okay, now. Hey. Yeah. Yeah. Blend, woman, blend. Gosh. So y'all know I can't see. So what I have to do when I'm doing makeup, when I'm wearing my glasses, or when I don't have my contacts in, is I just do my face in the mirror and get the gist of what my makeup looks like, and then I put my glasses on. So I put my glasses on like 20 times in the process of me doing makeup if I'm not wearing contacts, which I'm not right now. So we have to do that, and then we do this. And we look at it. I have like super crazy hyperpigmentation in my lash lines. And like, I don't know how to get rid of it. Like, I don't know. So I always get, you guys are so sweet, I always get compliments on my skin, which I appreciate, but my skin is not perfect, it's far from perfect. But y'all, I did not always look like this. Like, I used to have acne so bad. When I was in high school and stuff, I had horrible acne. Well, not, it wasn't like crazy, but it was, I mean, I had like hyperpigmentation, acne, all of that. I feel like I already am. And I used to use Proactive back in the day, and that cleared my skin up pretty good. But now, who got Proactive money? So I said, I gotta find something that worked for me on the cheap, and I did. Literally, I use like regular bar soap. And organic honey. That's what I wash my face with in the morning. I use like just a bar of black soap from Whole Foods. It's not even pure black soap. It's what they call black soap, which, you know, it's not pure, but it'll work. I just get the, you know, the top layer of dirt off. And once I do that, then I put the honey on my face. So my face is damp, my face has been scrubbed, my pores are open, all of that. And I put the honey on, just a little dab of do you, spread it around. Actually, the honey I'm using now has neem oil in it, which is like a super antibacterial essential oil. It's really good. I like it a lot better, but you can just use regular honey. But yeah, so I put honey on my face, and then I let it sit while I brush my teeth, and then I add a little baking soda to it for some scrubbing action. So I scrub it with the baking soda with just like a regular washcloth. and then I rinse it off. And I'm telling you, like, be glowing. That's what I do every single morning. That's my face routine. For moisturize, I just use jojoba oil. I literally have my own mix of jojoba oil and some essential oils, which are like some antibacterial to help fight acne, some anti-aging like frankincense. And I'm a bit of a hippie, by the way. And so, yeah, and I put like 2 to 3 drops in my hand, rub it on my face, underneath my eyes, and boom, I'm out the door. That's it. That's all I do every single day. I do that same routine every morning. At night, I do pretty much the same thing, except I don't use honey at night typically. Not because for any reason, just because I'm lazy and I just wash my face while I'm in the shower with the same bar of soap that I wash my body with. I use only organic soap, so I use the same soap from that I wash my body with. I just use it right on my face and go right down my body, and that's the end of that. So I like convenience and I like cheap. Like, that's my, so no offense to anybody who like sells Rodan and Fields or uses it. I'm like, look, I don't have time, I don't have the money, like all those steps, no. If it takes a lot of steps, I'm not gonna do it because I know myself. So I found something that works for me. If you want to try it, go right ahead. It's super easy. And I get my organic honey for like $11 a jar, and the jar lasts me 4 months. Like, I literally buy 2 a year for my face. So I spend like $20 on face wash for an entire year. Baking soda is like 50 cents. Nothing. So yeah, that's what I do, because broke college student life, baby. We ain't got all them coins to be buying all those anti-aging serums and whatnot. We ain't got time for that. Look, I gotta wash my face and get on to class. Okay, brows look, you know, they say they sisters, not twins. These are definitely cousins today, y'all. These eyebrows is cousins today, honey. There, I think that got it. Yes, brows